Hey Shooby-Doodlers, how are you doing? Well, today I am going to draw a cockroach, an evil cockroach. So I imagine it's coming towards me, and that's kind of a line along the bottom. And so I'm thinking that this is kind of a shape that's right underneath its tummy, basically, that's sort of hugging the ground. And then I'm going to want to have its kind of head at the front like that. Just kind of around about that shape. So it's going to change as I go along. This is just kind of thinking about it. It's got its thorax kind of like that, and then its wing, something like that. So that's sort of, that's kind of its head coming straight up like that, and that's round to the back of the body. So that gives me the feel of how the whole thing is going to work. So now I'm going to start adding some character to it, and I'm going to give it these kind of evil eyebrows, which will kind of turn into feelers that are sticking up on top like that, and that will come this way. These creepy feelers. I think it's the feelers are the creepiest bit of all, actually, with a cockroachy kind of thing. And I'm going to give him these kind of wicked, evil eyes, and he's going to be looking sideways because he's a bit shifty, isn't he? He's not going to look you straight in the eye. No way. And let's just get in the rest of the kind of the head shape. Now there's all sorts of things that they do have, like they have little kind of pincers on the front that sort of shovel things in their mouth, and little feelers and things as well. And this isn't kind of a realistic drawing of a cockroach, really. It's a kind of characterized cartoon, and it's kind of it's turning a cockroach into a character, really. So I'm just going to change that angle there, make that eye a little bit smaller there, and then I'm kind of adding lots of dark around here to make it look more like a kind of a highwayman's mask around its eyes, like that. And then I think we'll do stuff like that to make it look a bit like eyebrows on the top. Evil cockroach eyebrows. And then we're going to have a kind of an evil cockroach smile. It's more of a grin, isn't it? It's a kind of a evil, master of the universe. I have a plan to take over the world. And of course, the chances are, after humans are long gone, the cockroaches will still be there. They probably will actually inherit the earth in the end. Right, now I'm going to do little kind of bits all the way up these feelers as well, because they're all segmented, aren't they, like that? And then, so that's the head, and then we've got the thorax, isn't it? This part here. So I'm going to do that to give an idea of where the centre line is going. And then we're going to sort of fit the legs in first, I think. So we've got the legs coming in all these kind of weird, kind of segmented sections, and then these little kind of hooky bits at the bottom. And that's going to come that way, and that's going to come that way. And these little hooky bits. And then we're going to want to have a bigger one at the back. It's coming out that way. And then I'm going to give them all a little bit of shading underneath like this. And then with a slight curve to it as well, then that will give it a little hint of shape as well, a little bit of curvature to the leg. And then, of course, they're quite hairy, so I'm going to give them little hairs. Spiny, creepy. I think it's the hairiness, isn't it? That's the real creepiness of creepy crawlies. And then we want more on the other side. It's kind of very similar, so I'll just zip through this bit. And while I'm drawing this bit, if you've stayed this far, you obviously love drawing. So make sure that you are subscribed to the Shoo Rayner Drawing Channel on YouTube. And keep coming back every week for more stuff, drawing stories, you name it. put some more hairs in there. And yes, of course, why am I drawing this? Well, it's because a couple of weeks ago, I think I did a video about the killer cat flap, which involved lots of cockroaches, and I actually did the drawings for the killer cat flap quite a while back, and I sort of thought, would I be drawing cockroaches in exactly the same way nowadays? And I'm actually drawing them quite differently now. I suppose because I'm spending a little bit more time thinking about the actual shape of them and the natural history of them. So on the other ones, you can see on the previous, on the story of the killer cat flap, I kind of drew them like this in these segments that went across, which is completely wrong. These are some other little things that I've drawn, and which is completely wrong because they actually have wing cases, and so that's going to be sort of going across like that. So that's kind of a leading edge there of the wing case, and that's going to come underneath. So we've got a sort of a shortish line there. So this is the leading edge as well, and that's going to go. So the veins are kind of going to go that way, and we want a slight curve as well to these veins, so they'll be going that way, and then these will be going off that way. And here it's best to probably start from the corner and then kind of follow them around like that, and then I have them there going like that, and that helps to add the curvature to the whole thing. When you are absolutely sure that the ink is dried, then you can erase all those pencil lines. And I think I'm going to add some more kind of sort of, it's not, well, it's kind of cross-hatching. It's now I'm cross-hatching it, so it was hatching before, but this is hatching, and it kind of adds a bit of texture, adds a bit of shape as well. And I think we might want a little bit of just in there, and I think I'm going to add a bit more cross-hatching under here as well, because it's going to be a lot darker, and I want then to bring the leg forward, and so a bit more shadow and hatching will then bring the leg forward like that. I've got my trusty Aquash water brush here, and I'm only going to be using one colour. This is called Neutral Tint, which is a Winsor & Newton colour, and so I'm going to start about here because I know I'm going to want a bit of highlight there, shininess, bit of highlight, shininess there, and maybe a little bit there. And then I'm going to dib dab clean the brush, and then I can kind of thin out the colour, and then maybe add a little bit more on top while it's still wet, so then the darkness can kind of wash into the wet bit that I've done already. And then here, that wants to be sort of shaded there, and then I can kind of bring little brush strokes in there, because each little vein is catching the light as well, so each little vein has its own kind of highlight there as well. Similarly here, so I'm going to let the brush strokes go along with the lines of the vein there, as it were. And then we want to do the same on this side as well. And then the head is also going to have a kind of a shiny section up there, and basically you want to keep those teeth nice and white, they're glinting. Of course, I know that cockroaches don't have teeth like that at all. This is a sort of an anthropomorphizing kind of characterization. Anthropomorphizing, that means kind of turning something into kind of a human, giving it human qualities that it doesn't really have. So, like, you know, if you see kawaii manga kind of things, where you get a piece of toast with a pair of eyes on it, or a strawberry with eyes on it, and that's, strawberries don't have eyes, and you're kind of turning them into little human characters. So Japanese love anthropomorphizing. So this is kind of turning it into giving it human characteristics that it really doesn't actually have. And that's the wonder of cartoon, that's the wonder of illustration as well. And because I like doing it, that's probably why I do children's books. And if you're wondering what the story is about, look, click here and go and find out what the story of the killer cat flap is all about and what the cockroaches have to do with it. We put a little bit more around this side, I think, and clean the brush, and then so it's just clean water coming out now, so I can kind of fade that darker part there like that into where it's wet. I'm going to make that a bit darker around the eyes there as well, and let that kind of fade and blend in where it's wet. And I want it to be quite dark above the eye as well. And then maybe we just have a tiny little bit of kind of shadow on the eyeball. Of course they don't have eyeballs like that at all. I know. But that's the fun, as I said, of characterization. And now it's just kind of tidying up and adding texture and shape to these kind of the wing cases. I think the wing cases are a really difficult thing to kind of get right like that. So now we need to kind of put it on the table. In fact, I'm going to just put very, very carefully, I'm just going to put a tiny little bit of shadow, just so some shadow lies on the teeth there, but you do get to see them pretty much white and glinting like that. And we want some shadow coming on the ground like this. So now I'm going to clean the brush and really kind of wash, I was going to say wash the colour out, wash the tone out, because it's not really colour, is it? And why do I do this? Why am I doing it in grey? Well, that's kind of one thing. If you're illustrating children's books, picture books and things like that, sometimes printing in colour costs a lot more. And so you can either illustrate in black and white, just straight pen and ink, just black and white, or you can then do this kind of half-tone wash style, as it's called, and then you'll kind of print it in a half-tone grey. So it's a really good way of just making adding a bit more life to your kind of half-tone black and white illustrations if your book has only got black and white and you can't afford colour. This is a really good way of just making it a little bit more interesting, I think. And I think what we need just to finish it off is we need some kind of movement as well. Oh, and I just remembered they had these kind of funny little kind of tails sticking out as well, which are, I think, also quite hairy. I don't know what those bits are. Probably best not to ask, really. And so I'll put those in there, and then we maybe have a few little kind of movement marks around there. I'm just going to make those little shadow bits just a bit more obvious, like that, and the shadow of the main body underneath. And there you go, how to draw an evil cockroach.
Thanks for watching, and you can support this channel and get so much more on my Patreon page. Click to find out more. Make sure you are subscribed to the Shoo Rayner Drawing Channel on YouTube, and in the meantime, keep drawing, practice, and I'll see you next time. You take care now, bye bye.